Hi, everyone, and welcome back to How I See, a Leica Podcast. I'm here today with Phil Penman, here to discuss his photography and his journey to becoming a photographer. Phil, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome in.
Thanks for having me on, Jack. Appreciate it.
Yeah, very excited to get to speak with you today, hear about your journey and where it's kind of taking you throughout all these years. I know that you've been documenting the streets of New York now for 25 years. And I wanted to ask you, what drew you to New York in the first place? Tell us the story of what brought you here.
Hip hop and baggy clothing.
Yeah,
I was big into all of that. So EPMD, Eric Biram Rakim, had the huge baggy jeans, the Carhartt hoodie. I had all of that. So when I was like 16, I had an aunt. She was up in Yonkers. And when I was 16, we went to see her. And I remember I cried on the plane leaving New York.
Really?
Yeah.
So man, you knew right then?
I knew, I just loved it. And then I spent the next 6 years trying to get back here.
Wow.
Like we'd come here like twice a year. Mm-hmm. And I would just buy all this vinyl. And I'd go to rock and soul, all the old cool clothing stores that we used to have down here. I'd go buy everything from them, fly back to the UK. I used to live in B&H as well, so I'd buy all the camera gear, scuff all the bags up, make it look like it was old, that I hadn't just bought it. And then I came here, I was probably like 18.
Yeah.
I got a visa for 1 year working for a DJ magazine, but it was like a freelance gig.
Okay.
So, I didn't know when money was going to be coming in, so I was actually working for my aunt for a real estate company up in the Bronx, and I would be manning the phones.
Yeah.
Like, all the calls that were coming in for the brokers. And after like 3 months, I was like, sod this, man. Like this, I can't do this. I was living with her as well in her apartment. So I went back with my head kind of in my hand, just like, man, that didn't work out. It failed. And, there's that moment where you find yourself, I'm back living in my parents' house. I'm working as a waiter in town in Dorchester, which is like sleepy part of England. And the dream was over. Yeah. That was it.
Now, at that point, were you already photographing, or was that something that led to your journey to becoming a photographer? Kind of that moment of coming back and saying, all right, I have to see what the next step is here, and how do I get back to New York?
Well, I studied photography from like 15, and then I did what I call national diploma in the UK. Did that, jumped onto the higher course after like 1 year, so I did it's called higher national diploma. Then I came to the States. So, I had quite a lot of years of photography study already in me, but as far as job-wise, it was like, I remember I was working as a waiter, and I think even my parents were like this, it can't end like this, And I remember I applied for a job as a chief photographer for this local newspaper back in Reading, where I used to live before I moved to the States. And I got this job. I managed to blag my way. When we say blag, we mean to BS your way into a job. So I walked in as chief photographer of this local newspaper, worked for them for like a year. Then I worked for a big agency where we did all the national newspaper jobs. Mm-hmm. And then I just got lucky, man. I was on a stakeout waiting for some celebrity, got chatting with this guy, and he said, yeah, my buddies Kevin and Gary in Los Angeles, they're always looking for photographers. They're British. Why don't you give them a call? And next thing you know, I'm on a plane to Los Angeles, like about 2 weeks later.
What was your time in Los Angeles like? You were working for this paper?
I hated it.
Yeah.
In all fairness, I never got to see it.
Okay.
And, it wasn't the glamorous living down in Santa Monica, by the beach. I was living right next to the 101 freeway on Vermont and Beverly, if any of your viewers know this. And it was literally, we had a different burnt out car every day on our back street because they would joyride, steal the cars, and then get off the freeway and dump them where I lived. Yeah. And I didn't know, like at night as well, you'd hear gunshots throughout the night. It would be like gunshot, siren, gunshot, siren. And apparently it was the most shootings per square mile where I lived as well.
Okay, good.
So when I wasn't flying around, I was listening to that at night.
Yeah. Did it turn into white noise for you? Help put you to sleep?
Yeah, in a horrible way. But I was just like, I remember getting to LA and you think it's going to be all like niceties.
Yeah.
And it was just like, no, this is a business. This weekend you're covering Pete Sampras's wedding. Tomorrow you're going out with Jenny. She's going to get your social security, your bank account, everything's set up. But then you're working.
Okay.
And it was just like full on. Like they weren't joking when they said you're going to be in Hawaii, you're going to be flying every few days. That was what it was sold to me as, and it was exactly what they said it was.
Wow. And how old were you at this time when you started doing this?
I was probably like 22.
So was this experience working for this company, was it something that was super exciting for you at that time where it was like, I don't mind doing all this travel and going all over to cover these things? Or was it something as you started out, you were like, this is a lot of travel. I don't know if it's for me?
It became fun.
Yeah.
The first 6 months were horrible. Yeah. It was because you were trying to learn the pace that these guys work at. And there was so much money in it. You're talking millions and millions of dollars at stake. So there's pressure. And it was, what I didn't realize as well is you're not only competing against the other photographers, you're competing against the photographers who work for the same agency as you. Because everyone's getting a big cut. Mm-hmm. So say the way they would get us over is they give you a car, right? So I had like this beautiful Mazda 626. I think you get paid like a $35,000 salary, but you get 25% commission. Okay. So if your picture sold for $100,000, you got 25 grand. But the thing was, that was only if you were on your own. Typically, you'd be working in a team of like 2 or 3 of you. Mm-hmm. So the way that they would do it is like, if there's 2 or 3 of you on the job, you get there to the end of the day and they say, well, Giles is the one who got all the pictures, or Jeff was the one who got all the pictures. You didn't get anything, so you shouldn't get a cut. Okay. That's because while you're working on these people, you're all on radios, right? Mm. Like it was like straight out of a spy movie. I remember like the first tale we had to do, we're all driving along parallel streets. No one's actually following the car. You're all on radios, and they would say to you, don't shoot now, don't shoot now. And you're shooting behind tinted windows. Yeah. Like no one ever saw you with a camera, but the whole time they were shooting. Okay. So at the end of the day, you get home and you're like, well, Phil, you got 2 pictures and Giles has produced 150 images. Yeah, we can't give you a cut.
Oh God.
And so I realized, well, hang on a minute. No, they're working against me. Yeah. And I remember there was a Callista Flockhart picture. And they were saying, don't shoot it, don't shoot it. And I shot the pictures and it sold for a fortune. And my boss was like, see, you do know how to do it. And I said, yeah, I figured it out. I just don't listen to anyone else.
Do your own thing.
Do my own thing. And he said, well, once you figured that out, you're okay.
Yeah.
And then I started making good money. I remember they give you kind of an initiation, like your test. And it was to fly to Ely, Nevada. Okay. I don't know if you've heard of Ely, Nevada. It's like nothing there. Okay. You fly into Vegas. I'm on this plane. It's just me on the plane. Mm-hmm. That's how no one's going down. Like, I go there, and it was the film Rat Race. I don't know if you remember that. It was like Rowan Atkinson, Whoopi Goldberg. It was like huge list of stars. Okay. And we're shooting film as well. And they send me this, say, right, you got to go and cover this film set. You got to go get pictures. But it's not like you're the official photographer. Yeah. Cameras hidden in the bag. I rock on set. I have a clipboard like I'm part of the movie. And this police officer and this PA come up to me and say, you're not with us. Get the hell out of here.
God.
So I said to the officer, where can I hide? Sorry, where can I, not where can I hide, but where can I stand? He said, you can stand all the way up there, miles away. And it was like on this main street. So I went up there, and of course what happened was the movie set kept going closer and closer. Yeah. And I remember just seeing like Cuba Gooding Jr. riding down the street on the back of a donkey. And he's being chased by David Spade, who's like in a monster truck. Yeah. And it was like this convoy, and I'm just shooting these great pictures. Yeah. And I start walking back to my car, and the policeman sees me and he comes running over and he's like, "Did you get the shot?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Good for you."
So he set you up so that you were ready to be in that position?
He was like, no, he was all right. And that was my test.
Yeah.
But you still don't know you have anything because you shot it on film. You get back to LA, Santa Monica, develop the film, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got like 4 sets of pictures that we can run from this."
Yeah.
And then I was in.
Nice. Okay, so when you were doing the initiation, they weren't really giving you any heads up of all the obstacles you were going to face.
Nothing.
So the clipboard side of things and trying to sneak in, were you coming up with all that on the fly, or was that something you had pre-prepared?
That's on the fly.
On the fly.
You basically, you're working like a private eye.
Okay, nice.
That's what it is. It's like the guy with the construction hat, the clipboard, the ladder under the arm.
I was just going to say the
vest.
ladder. Yeah, if you walk anywhere with a ladder, people think you're official.
Yeah, no, it's like you never saw us with a camera out when we were working overseas. Never had a camera out because you didn't know who was watching you. It was completely insane. But then when you've trained as a photographer, and now you're shooting 5.4 architecture, transparency, and now you're shooting this stuff, it's like, oh wow, okay, well the money's nice.
Yeah,
that's about it.
I was gonna say, it sounds like you got an additional skill set as well, becoming a private eye along with a photographer. So you're able to did you have to learn how to navigate that kind of space beforehand, or they threw you in as a photographer and you're like, to get these shots, I need to now become
they throw
a
you
spy.
in, man. It's sink or swim. It's just completely sink or swim. And the problem is it made you so paranoid of everything because you're constantly like, someone's watching me.
Yeah.
And like we were doing a lot of, the celebrity stuff was like the calm.
Okay.
The political stuff was scary because there was like real consequences if you got caught. You could get in a lot of trouble. I remember there was one job I was hired to do. Can't name what it was for obvious reasons, but it was involved a Secret Service detail.
Okay.
And I remember the Secret Service officer, he just got in the elevator with me. And they haven't seen any cameras or anything. Yeah. But where I was staying was full of them. And he just gets in, he opens up his jacket, and his gun is sitting right there. His badge is sitting there, and he just closes up and goes, "Good morning." I'm just like, all right, got the message.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Oh my God. So how long were you doing that kind of work for? And was it something that you expected when you were first starting in photography that you would ever be doing something like that? No,
not at all. I did it for five years for the agency. And I decided that I could go freelance. Because we knew that, right? As long as you have like $30,000-$40,000 that you've saved up in your bank account, you can afford to go freelance. Most of these companies, they would take like 6 months to a year to pay you for what you did. So you knew you needed 6 months buffer. So I went freelance and I carried on doing the celebrity, but I could, when I was working for the agency, you're flying 2-3 times a week. You can't have a girlfriend, you can't have any friends, you can't have anything. A lot of the guys would turn to drink. Yeah. I remember, oh my God, at least 2 or 3 of the guys that came over from England, they lost their wives within the first year.
Oh, wow.
They would come with their wives and that was it. 1 year, divorced.
Yeah.
Just because you never got to see anything. So I knew I couldn't maintain that pace as well. So I quit, went freelance, and then I started doing for myself. But I knew that once I went freelance, I could say yes and no to jobs.
Yeah.
And also you would get 60% instead of 25%.
Yeah.
Because you would still sell for an agency, but you just get a lot more money.
So you were still doing the same kind of work just on your own, and then were the connections through the agency how you were able to sell the photos and everything?
They would sell the pictures, but you had to have your own sources.
Okay.
So some of us would work with celebrities directly.
Okay.
Like that became the business, is that you would be their personal publicity machine. But the pictures, so people don't realize a lot of the stuff you see in the magazine, it's all set up.
Okay, yeah.
You think it's paparazzi work. Most of it's set up. A lot of them would be, right, I'm going to adopt a new baby. Yeah. we would know about it because their publicists would tell us what's going to happen, or I'm going to be flying in here. I remember working on one celebrity where it was like the information was just too good. It was just like, I'm going to be at this bar at this time. We're going to be here at this time. I'm like and this is a huge A-list celebrity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's got to be him or someone that's very close. And it was the girlfriend.
Okay.
She wanted the PR. So she was the one that was leaking the information.
Really?
And so it was just like, your morals, you have this moral standing of like, I could never take those pictures until you do it. And then you realize like, it's just this big game. Like they're all in on it. Okay. And people just, they're not really aware of that.
Yeah. How did you build those relationships once you went freelance? Was it through the agency work, the connections you made there, or were you starting to reach out to people on your own?
A lot of them knew who I was.
Okay.
So believe it or not, it was the pictures that you didn't take were the ones that would get you in with these people.
Okay.
So you'd be closer. You either work with a celebrity or you work with the security team. Mm-hmm. Everything I would shoot would be really long lens. Yeah. So like 400 mil plus. Yeah. They were more afraid of the public than they were of you. Mm. And they just didn't want to be spotted by the public because then they've got a real security threat. Mm. So I just became good friends with a lot of celebrities and a lot of security teams where they'd be like, hey, we're going to be doing this today. Can you try and get some nice pictures of us? Or Madonna used to be, I worked on her a lot, and they would admire that you worked hard. Yeah. Because I was on a bike. It's not like I was in a car. Most of the time when I was in New York, I was chasing people on a bicycle. I remember Brad Pitt turned around to me once and he just said to me, how many miles do you do a day? And I'm like, I don't know. How much are you going to be driving today?
That's a great answer.
He's just like, he actually shoots Leica as well. So a lot of them, I remember my nickname was Tour de France.
Tour de France.
By two of them. There was two celebrities that used to call me Tour de France. Mm-hmm.
No, we were talking off camera before that you were into cycling now as well. Did that start because you were doing so much cycling for your work?
Cycling's very addictive, and the cycling culture here is awesome, like in New York. I don't do it anymore because I don't have the time for it, but I got very competitive, as in everything I do. Full on competitive nature, all in, and got into like racing. But I had health issues as well, so I had to do something about that. I used to drink. I remember keeping the receipts on my bar tabs, and it was scary.
Oh God!
So I had yellow skin.
Okay.
From alcohol abuse. I couldn't walk like 2 free city blocks because I get all the pains in the sides, and I had to throw myself into cycling. I lost like 60 pounds. The yellow skin left me, and then I got into racing and got up to UCI 1.2 level, which is like semi-pro. Wow. I was the state champion, time trial champion for New York State. Wow. And then I ended up working for a cycling company as well, believe it or not. And then some dog decided to end it all when I smashed into my bike once, and I broke my hip. Took 2 years to recover from that. Oh God! So I'm pins, all through the leg. This is all pinned up, but this is that's a rite of passage when you're racing is to break your collarbone. So I remember I broke my collarbone and it was in a sling, and I was still working doing the celebrity stuff. And Tom Cruise's guys, they used to think it was funny because a couple of them were cyclists. Yeah. As well. They knew. They knew. And they were like, just go easy, you'll get the shot.
How were you shooting while you were slinged up? Were you bringing it up kind of here? And
just like the photographer, just like... But it was, you had to pay the bills because the thing is, you're freelance, right? So if there is no salary, if you don't go out there and work, you make no money, and it would be so depressing if we used to call it trawling because it wasn't that you'd be getting information all day, every day. You'd be basically riding around the city looking for stuff. Okay. So if you saw nothing, that meant you made no money. Okay. So there was a lot of stress. Like if you go 1 week or say it's the winter and you get no decent pictures,
nothing's coming in.
No income.
When you were spending all that time riding around and going through the streets and searching for a shot to bring in some income, was that where your street photography started, when you had downtime, or did your streat photography start somewhere else? Downtime, even though you're cycling?
Downtime. I don't think I know what that is. I don't remember having a vacation ever.
No.
No, I believe it or not, I had to get back into photography again, because if you're just doing this celebrity stuff, it's like soul crushing.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're a photographer and you found yourself in this world where you're not even taking pictures anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I enjoyed photography. You know, it was very addictive when I was young.
Yeah.
You know, I'd stay in the dark room all night just because I enjoyed it so much. So I had a friend of mine. He sold me an M7. He was one of the other photographers I worked with. And then I just started shooting color transparency on that. And then when the M9 came out, I could use that technically for work as well.
Yeah.
So anything that was like short lens, I would use M9, and I had a 35mm, and then I had a Canon set up with my 200 to 400 for the celebrity stuff.
Yeah.
So if I was riding around like 12 hours a day, I'd see all this crazy stuff that most people don't get to see, just because you've got to be out there.
Yeah.
So I started building this catalog of images, and then the thing was, normally you'd be looking for celebrities, and now you're looking for pictures.
Yeah.
You're looking for crazy stuff on the streets of New York every day. Yeah. That's how I got into it.
I was going to say, and so that came from the work you were doing while you were out there looking for celebrities. Did you ever have interest in street photography before that, or did it become something you were interested in?
I think it was something that I became interested in, because when I was in England, I would go to London every week, but I wasn't doing like street portraits, or I'd go maybe some street stuff in Barcelona. I did that as a college project, or London Underground, but not like what I was doing here.
Yeah.
You know, and I just really got into it. And then I remember in 2004, I went to India and up into Kashmir for like a month, and just came back with like a ton of work. And that's when I really was like, right, okay, I can run with this.
Yeah. Was there a moment where I feel like you just said it, but where you were able to say, okay, I'm stepping away from this work I'm doing with the celebrities and running around and doing that, and you fully committed to your street photography, and you knew that it was something that you could do and that you really wanted to do?
2015.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a complete breakdown with the celebrity stuff. Like the industry just fell to pieces. There was no more money in it. Pictures that used to sell for $10,000, $20,000 were now selling for like $50. The agencies changed the way that they sold the pictures. They went the same way as Spotify and all the music and all the rest of it, and the movies. It was like they went to these subscription models.
Licensing for it.
Yeah. So our cut would be $1. And I'd be like, yeah, but you're going to get so many more sales because it's $1 a picture, but you're going to get 1,000 sales. No, it's like 12. So it was like, well, that didn't even pay for my coffee.
Yeah.
So that's not going to work. So then I slowly try to figure out every way I could. It's like, right, I'll cut out the agency, I'll sell direct, control the price. I'll get rid of the foreign agents, sell direct in all the foreign countries. So I made more money, but I could see that the business was just going to plummet.
Yeah.
So 2015, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Took the wild decision. One of the guys who was on my team, Rich, he was the sales and marketing director for this Italian cycling company. And I remember just sat with him in a coffee shop and said, dude, have you got any jobs? Anything at all, I will do anything. And I think he just thought I was joking. And he said, well, I have this job, but it doesn't pay. And you'll be doing sales. It's like selling the clothing to teams. So I don't care, I'll do it. And I knew that, right, I can have a crack at trying to do the street photography and maybe turn it into like something where I can make a living.
Yeah.
But it's probably one of the hardest things to make a living with. Yeah. So I had that job security for about 3 years. I had the healthcare with their company. Yeah. And then, about 3 years. Like at the same time, it wasn't like I just stopped doing photography. I had these portrait gigs I used to work for this publication where it was like Nashville stars.
Okay.
So I was in Nashville like every other week doing portraits of like Charlie Daniels, Brenda Lee, all these old legends. And I hate country music. It was like I couldn't stand country music, and my wife just used to laugh. She's like, how ironic is that you like these people and that you're there doing country portraits all the time. And so I was mixing up doing the portrait shoots with selling the cycling clothing. So I'd be like in Charlie Daniels' house, like do a few portraits. You mind if I use the restroom, Charlie? Yeah. Go in there and be hammering out like orders for Castelli cycling clothing in the toilet. Yeah. Right, now we're back. And then after 3 years, I was making enough money teaching and doing exhibitions and books that I was able to quit and just go all in street photography.
Did you ever think when you first started out with photography that would be something that you'd be doing?
Which bit?
I guess a mix
selling
of it.
Cycling clothing?
The selling cycling clothing.
That wasn't on the agenda.
Came up. It's funny how there's the connection though, because you loved cycling too, and then that connection to it. It feels like there's a little bit of synchronicity there. But more so, when you first started out with photography, did you ever think you were gonna become an educator, be making a living off street photography, or was it all something that your preparation led to, and when the moment came, you were ready for it?
Well, I wanted to be a teacher anyway.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be a sports teacher when I was young.
Yeah.
So I'd always had desires to do that. And part of our teaching when I was studying sports studies was we'd have to go and pick up like local 5-year-olds and teach them every week. Yeah. Like we'd bring them to the school and, teach them sports studies. Yeah. And so I was always into that. And then it was like my old buddy, John Kreidler, rest in peace, mate. I remember I did my first exhibition, like big solo exhibition, was in Leica in New York. And John said shortly after, he was like, would you be interested in teaching an academy class and give people the opportunity to see how you shoot? And I'm like, well, he said, no, the real experience. So it was like 5 a.m. to 11 o'clock at night. And I think that's because John liked to shoot as well. Yeah. So it took a little while to sell.
Yeah.
Because there's not many people. There's the hardcore that are going to get up at that time. Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. And then after that, I said, John, look, we can go out and shoot for 3 hours before, but let's say 8 o'clock. All right,
let's give a little room.
Let's make it a little bit earlier for them. We used to name them the Death March, was the academy classes. And then, of course, they would sell out straight away because 8 o'clock's a hell of a lot easier than 5 a.m.
Did you always find yourself wanting to photograph earlier in the morning, or was that something, where did that come about? Where did you figure out that was a good time for you to start?
It's weird because I used to DJ and I would come in at 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. And then when I got into cycling, the whole cycling scene is getting up ridiculously early because some of these races, they start at 5:30 in the morning. So I got into the cycle of getting up at like 4, 5 a.m. And I still do to this day. I still wake up at that time. So I just, I travel a lot. I'm constantly jet lagged. And you wake up at 2 a.m. in Tokyo and you're like, right, I'm going to go walking. Yeah. And I've just fallen into that trap. And it's just beautiful hour of the day where I remember doing a thing with a friend, and we both said the people in the morning have much more purpose. Yeah. So because everyone's going somewhere, everyone's doing something, and it's just a total different vibe to maybe being out there in the afternoon. Yeah. And I just came to love it more.
I was going to say, who were the most interesting people that you've met at those hours? I'm curious to hear what their purpose was for being up at hours like 2 a.m. in Tokyo or 5 in the morning.
Tokyo is different because Tokyo is just, especially in certain areas, they're still partying. They're at 5 a.m. They're rolling into the train station. They're still going, but they're like happy drunk.
Yeah,
it's not like England where they're just trying to fight. It's just they're a happy drunk. It's pleasant to be around.
Yeah,
it could be people going to work in the morning, commuters. They're less likely to bother you. Because I got to get to work. I enjoy those. All the coffee guys, like when I was working on the street, most of the people that we talk with, if you're on like a long stakeout, it would be food vendors, homeless people. Those were the people you would chat with because you're all there. Everyone on the street would know each other.
Yeah.
You know, and I just found like you get some fascinating stories from people, like life stories.
Did you always find it easy to connect with your subjects and the people that you're photographing, or was that a muscle that you had to develop?
No, I just like talking with people. To be honest, a lot of the time I don't even photograph them. You just get chatting with people and you just learn, you know, listen. You can learn a lot more listening rather than talking, right? So I just enjoy it. Like I've gotten to meet so many cool people because of it. And I stay in touch with a lot of the people that I photograph as well. Because whenever I do a portrait shoot, I always give them my Instagram and say, look, send me a message and I'll send you the pictures today. And then they're shocked that you send them the pictures, and then they're very happy with the pictures, and they're always like, can I use this? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And I've connected with so many people that way.
Is there a lesson that sticks out to you that you've learned from one of your subjects in these meetings?
Yeah, listening. Not talking about yourself. Like, I find it uneasy, like if you're with someone and you're talking about yourself all the time. Like I try to stop, you know, you don't want to do that. I want to listen more and ask questions because I'm inquisitive. I want to know. So that definitely helps. And people, a lot of the time, they're just, because it's the people that you're stopping as well. A lot of the people that you're stopping are not the people that most people are going to look to. You know, I was fortunate that like I had an upbringing where I was basically thrown into all these different situations. Like I used to, you know, I served Prince Andrew as a silver service waiter. I used to work in the royal boxes. And then I used to work at Windsor Racecourse, where you're basically serving the richest of the rich and everything's Sir Madam. And then, you know, other jobs where I was a garbage man. You know, bin man in England, like on the back of the truck.
Yeah.
So then you're with someone else, and then you're like, I was a street cleaner. So I was basically thrown into all these different environments of different types of people, and you soon realize that everyone's the same, you know?
Yeah. What has your time photographing taught you about yourself?
What's it taught about myself?
Yeah, have you learned anything through either the art or the people that you've met, more about who you are?
My worst vice is I'm never happy with anything. Like pictures, like yesterday, beating myself up over stuff. And like, you know that you're doing well, you know, but it doesn't feel like it. Yeah. And I wish I didn't have that. I wish, like, what was I heard? It's like, you never enjoy anything because you're always trying to move to the next. You're always moving on to the next thing. Like, it's good because it pushes you, but at the same time, you don't enjoy it. Yeah. And I wish I kind of enjoyed it a bit more.
Do you find yourself chasing something, and are you aware of what it is?
Yeah. It was you're proving something. You're proving something to yourself. Yeah. And it was also a teacher. Like I had a shitty time at school. Dyslexic, you know, I was diagnosed pretty early on. So I was in special class. I was outside of the class. I was the free, in a group of three. We're in special school, right? And I remember I had this French teacher who just said, "You're never going to amount to shit." And saying to my parents, like, yeah, no, he's not even going to pass basic education. And I remember my dad just being so annoyed. We got home and he said, right, read the paper. You know, he just made me start reading the paper because he was annoyed about it. And then I got into sport and found myself playing tennis. I was really good at tennis. So I was like county level. I used to win all the tournaments. And you start to build up this confidence. And then when I went to college, I had this teacher, Andy Fowler, if you're out there, Andy. oh my God, it made such an impact. Just having one teacher that just turned around and you see, I remember the assignment, he said, that's probably the best picture I've ever had on any first assignment ever as a teacher. And I was just like, what? And it was like every week, it was like frying on praise. And then I remember the teachers, they used to have me work as an assistant for them. And it was just like this reinforcement of like confidence. And no, you are pretty good at this. And then I think ever since then, it's just been like trying to prove something.
I saw in a previous interview, so the majority of your work is in black and white. And in this interview, you said you went to it because it takes you back to the beginning. What does the beginning mean to you?
Fun. Just fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so lucky because my dad was, because he's a photographer as well. So he said to me, like, if I get you this camera, you know, I know that I need to know you're gonna put everything into it. So he taught me how to develop black and white, taught me how to print. You know, we had a darkroom at home, and I just got addicted to it. So addicted. Go on the bike, ride 30 miles doing landscape pictures, you know, shooting technical pan film, you know, and just obsessed with grain. And because he was a photographer, I had access to like 5.4 medium formats. Wow. And when I was doing my A-level studies, the teachers didn't believe I was doing my own work. Because they knew that I was doing most of my stuff at home. So they all thought that my dad was doing it for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
In a way, that's almost a compliment.
Well, yeah, I guess. And then the final week of college, I said, do you mind if I use your darkroom? And the lecturer was like, oh, I've got to see this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what, you don't think I'm doing it? And he said, no. So I did a print, and he was like, oh, shit, I'm wrong.
You were doing it. Did you ask to use the darkroom to almost prove it to them, or did you just need it at that time?
No, I just needed it. It was like, it was the end of the course, and I was missing something, and I had to quickly use it to print. But I would, awesome. Print all night. You just got addicted.
Yeah. And
it was black and white. We didn't really have the access to color printing. Yeah. Back home it was a lot easier to do black and white. So that was how I started, and that's why I went back to it.
Now when you take to the streets to go and photograph today, when you go out there, is there any story that you're searching for, or are you just letting the moments that mean something to you provide themselves to you, if that makes sense?
I just gone back to doing projects and shooting for myself again. Like after a long time, I shot a lot of big stories in my time, 9/11, COVID, all these big stories. And I think because I'm in a very fortuitous position where I don't have to do commercial work or anything anymore. Like I used to do that. I used to do pharmaceutical campaigns and big advertising gigs that people would kill to do. And I turned it all down in the end. I just wasn't happy. So now it became purely about just shooting for myself. Yeah. Like as long as I made enough money to pay the rent, be comfortable, I'll go shoot what I want to shoot.
Has this been your favorite time as a photographer, being able to just shoot what you want to go and shoot?
Oh yeah, it's a dream. Like, dude, I get to travel all around the world and photograph in cities, and there's no agenda. Yeah. Like, people kill for that. Yeah. And there's, very, very lucky. And I get to shoot things I want and put them in books that sell. Like, and there's no one like pushing you saying you need to do this, you need to do that. Like, it's never in a million years would I have ever thought I'd be able to be in that position to do that. Yeah.
So now, obviously you have a new book out now, which I'm very excited to see, but how did you begin the bookmaking process? Was that something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you end up developing enough of a catalog where you're like, I think I can put this in a book and I'd like to see it printed?
I knew I needed to do it.
Yeah.
When I was holed up with a broken hip in the apartment, I would go out and I just figured, right, a rethink. I need to redo everything. So I'd be sat at my desk, broken hip, redoing my website, learning about marketing, all the things you needed to do to push through. And one of them was marketing, was you need to do a book. right? And it needs to be a successful book. So I was building up the community of people that follow my work, because if you're going to do a book, you can't just do a book. You got to have a community. Who's going to buy your
Who
book?
wants the book? Yeah.
You know, people need to know it, and they've got to be invested in you enough to be like, I want to support that person. So I did my first book in 2019, and I was very fortunate. It became a bestseller, and it made a name for me. Like, doing a book is basically, it's like having a portfolio around the world, providing you have distribution. But you're going to lose money doing a book. You're going to lose a fortune. And I literally bet the house on it. Like, I refinanced my house and just said, I'm going to have a go. And doing a book, for any people that don't know, it is ridiculously expensive. Like, you could spend 20 to 100,000 doing a book, and you will not get that money back. It's a marketing cost. So if it doesn't work, like, lots of people, they reach out to me for advice, and I'm like, unless you've got an audience to sell to, don't even think about it yet. You know, a lot of people, they'll produce the book, and then they try to figure out, how am I going to market the book? It's the other way around. You got to figure that one out first, then you can do the book. And I got lucky. Like, that first book, Street, became a big success. And then that led to being able to get the second, the third, the fourth book.
For the first book, did you self-publish that, or did you work with a publisher on it?
That was with a publisher. So typically, if you self-publish, you're probably gonna make more money, but you might not have the distribution. And having the distribution is key. Making sure it's on Amazon, because that's where most people buy, is through Amazon. So having a publisher definitely helps. And then the second book, I was able to get a publishing deal because the first book was a success. So I got the publishing deal where they actually pay you. It's a novelty, right? It's an idea that the artists, get paid for your work rather than you paying to do the book. And that one went on, did really well. You know, we way, way beyond anything we ever expected. So that was that once you have, you know, the book has to be a success, right? Otherwise, you're not going to get another book. Yeah. If you only sell 500 books, then that's not really going to do it.
Yeah. With knowing those stakes, did you know at the time that you were ready to put it out there and that it was going to be a success, or were you hoping?
No, I didn't know that. I was hoping. I remember going onto Amazon, and there was a #1 next to my book. And I was like, what's that? And it was like, click, #1 new release. And it was like, Bill Cunningham was like #2. And I'm like, oh, well, that's all right. I don't know how that one happened, but I'll take it. And then, yeah, it's, you never know how people are going to resonate with the work, you know, or people, if they're going to support you. Yeah. You know, and I'm very lucky. I have like a lot of very loyal followers and people that, you know, follow my work, that support you. Wouldn't be here without them.
There's obviously a lot of the books are focused on street. There's a lot of moments that pass you by on the street. How have you developed your perspective or your eye to be able to recognize when a moment matters to you and that you should snap the shutter?
Yeah, I'm pretty decisive about what I want to shoot now as well, because there's stuff everywhere, right? There's pictures around us now. And it's just like, what I'd say the biggest thing is, it's your life experience. You know, anyone can take pictures with a camera, but what you choose to take, that comes from your upbringing. So all those shitty things that happened, you know, I wouldn't be the photographer without that. Like, even when I was doing the cycling gig, the people that I met in cycling, I got jobs through those people in the future. They became clients. So it's like, everything you do, whether it was a shit experience that you had, it all is going to come to play at some point in the future. So my work is definitely built on all those life experiences, the people that I gravitate to, the things that I like, you know, the hip hop that first brought me here, you know, all of that, it's all come together.
I'd love to shift now, talking about your photography and the books that we've been working on, to a segment we call Unframed here, where we're going to take a look behind some of the images from the upcoming exhibition in New York, the book. So I'd love to direct our attention over to the screen now. And for our audio listeners here, I just want to give you an idea of also what we're looking at here. So on the screen right now, we have a dog, possibly a younger dog here in the bottom left-hand third of the frame. And towards the middle third and right upper third, the dog is looking in, I'd say longingly, at a grooming and pet accessories shop here. And I guess I have to wonder, is this dog, he knows exactly what he's looking at and he's trying to get in there. But Phil, take us through how this shot came to be. It also looks like he's off leash here. How did this shot come to be? Walk us through the background and a little bit of your process on what happened here.
This is one of those shots where you just know if you don't hurry up, you're going to miss it, and that's it. It's done. And I was actually teaching. I was doing a one-to-one workshop with someone, and I remember they were photographing in some restaurant window, and the owner had come out to like grill the photographer. Yeah. So I was like, oh man! Like I walked over here, and I turn around, and I just see the dog looking in the window, and I'm like, oh man, is that really a dog looking at a dog in the window? You know, and I was just thinking, right, I got to get this really quick. So I really like jacked up my ISO, got my shutter speed low enough, and I was trying to maneuver myself because the owner of the dog was like slightly to the left. And I don't want the owner, because then it's not, defeats the object of the picture. So I'm trying to maneuver myself to get the owner out the shot. So it's just that frame, but that's happened in a 2-second window.
I was going to say, how long?
It's like that, and you just know, right, either the dog owner's going to yank the dog any second, so you've got to be really quick. Yeah. And it was funny because this is one that the Library of Congress actually picked up on. They acquired this is in the permanent archives, which is kind of cool.
That's really cool.
But I like that someone else saw that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say the irony behind it is awesome.
Yeah, you couldn't plan that.
No,
you know. The dog's intrigue, curiosity.
Yeah. And I have to ask, I mean, you have a 2-second window here to take the shot. So you may not notice this, but did you notice anyone else seeing that moment who was passing by on the street, maybe after or during, or was this something that was like, this is a moment that I'm seeing that I know I need to capture right now?
Not that one.
Yeah.
But I have had occasions where I'm taking a picture and a member of the public will be like going, wow, are you getting that? Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yeah, like we both saw it, you know.
But you had the camera ready at the time.
They liked the fact that you. What was one? I remember coming off the boat downtown. It was like they used to do this jazz festival out there, and so everyone's dressed up in like 1930s. And there was a father buying an ice cream, and he had the whole family decked out in these, like the young kids with the hats and everything. And this woman, she's like, are you seeing that? And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's an incredible shot. When I was looking through the selection, that was one of the first ones that jumped out at me. Because I don't think I had seen it before. I've seen quite a bit of your work, but this one,
that's one of my favorites. Probably one of my favorites.
It also helps. I love dogs, and I feel like my dog does something similar too. It's very interesting how they know.
So if I see your dog looking in the window of a dog, I'm going to know where that came from.
Exactly. We'll recreate.
Yeah.
So we can move on to the next image here, coming up as well. It's coming on screen now. This is an absolutely beautiful shot here too, and just to give our listeners here a little bit of background on audio. We're looking at a frame here where in the bottom, inching into almost the middle third, a cyclist in an empty street surrounded by buildings leading off into a vanishing point, and the cyclist is right in the center of it. It's an absolutely beautiful shot, and Phil, I'd love for you to take us through this one as well. And I'm very curious to hear what time this was at too.
This was on a miserable day. And everyone looks at this and they're like, that's E.T.
Yeah.
They all think it's E.T.
Getting ready to take off.
Yeah,
into the
just
atmosphere.
getting ready to take off. It's one of those things where like you always hear the one camera, one lens. That's why you don't do one camera, one lens. That's a long lens.
Yeah.
So I used to have the SL, well, I still have the SL system, but I had all the S lenses.
Yeah.
So I had the old 90 to 280 SL lens, and I actually sold it and bought a old R 90 to 280 lens because I like the look of it better. Yeah. And then I hodgepodge it, put it on my M camera. Yeah. So I shot this with practically like 280 mil because I wanted to keep the canyon as straight as I could and keep the scale. So this is shot like on a miserable rainy day using a very long lens, and I wouldn't be able to get the same shot with a wider angle. That's why it worked. And it's just, you've got that little gap, kind of, I call it like the isolation spot where you'll just ET where I can see him clearly.
Yeah. It's framed perfectly. Now, you said it was a miserable day. When you get a shot like this, does it make it a little bit of a brighter day? Do you know it right away, or is it something where you come back and processing the image where then you see it, or is it something right away where you know that you love that image?
I actually became to love miserable weather. It's the English in me. But because it's one of those things when you get home and you look at the pictures, like when you're out there, it just sucks.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a snowstorm or something, then it's beautiful to be out there. But if it's like rainy and you're just getting soaked, but when you put them on the computer and you look at the images, like, wow, yeah, these are great. Yeah. You know, that's what I enjoy. And then you're like, oh, okay, that's why you go out and shoot in that weather.
Yeah, to get the amazing stuff. And now, are you typically out in that kind of weather, one of the few people who are out there, or do you end up seeing other people around you, whether they're photographers or public? I'm curious to see about that too.
Depends on the time of day. Like a lot of the time when I go out, there's not that many people out and about. Yeah. Well, especially like the early morning snowstorms. No, there's no one who. What was the most recent one we had? I think I was out at 2:30 a.m. Yeah. I started and I finished around 12. Wow. So that first 3 to 4 hour window, you know, maybe 20 people. Yeah. I spotted. That's it. No one wants to be out there in that.
No.
And then they just think you're weird.
Do you ever talk to anyone at that time?
No, usually like some of the people that are walking around at that time are unsavory characters and you're playing like the dodge game as you're walking down the street. Like there's another one, cross, back and forth.
Oh my God. I was going to say it's like Frogger, jump across the street.
That was like COVID, man. It was like walking around and just like trying to avoid just like the crazies.
Yeah.
Like you have to look 2-3 blocks ahead of you just to avoid it. Yeah.
And the PI in you comes back at that time.
I remember once I was walking up 10th Avenue and I looked up and there was like no one there at all. I was like, oh, this is safe. And I walked past this bus shelter and this guy is basically standing like this, just waiting for someone. Like hiding behind one of these poles. And I'm like, oh man, like, thanks.
Oh God. All right. And we're moving into another frame here. And again, for our audio listeners on here as well, wonderful frame here in the bottom third, slightly inching into the middle third here. We have 2 fishermen sitting on what looks like a very foggy day. And I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to say the right bridge, but is this the Brooklyn Bridge that's right here in the middle third?
That's Manhattan.
Manhattan Bridge here in the middle third, with a bit of haze separating the foreground from the background. Phil, walk us through what happened on this image, how you found this shot, and what you were you looking for something, or did this just pop in to frame for you?
I was actually teaching, believe it or not. I was doing a Leica Academy workshop for New York. And I think they are the luckiest group, not because of me, but because of the morning we had. It was like, you know, you couldn't see 50, 100 feet in front of you. It was just thick fog all over the city. And I was kind of like teaching them about like layering shots, like, you know, so we were using iconic backgrounds, Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge. Like I think at least 3 or 4 of the group had LFI picture of the, you know, winners, master shots from that morning as well. And I was like, I got to do one for myself as well. So like I saw these 2 guys sat there and I was like, so I got this picture for myself as well. And it's just like, you know, layering up the shot. So, you know, it's a nice picture if it's just the Manhattan Bridge, but it's a lot more, you know, lots of other people have that picture.
Yeah.
So it's like searching for a shot that maybe someone doesn't have. And these 2 guys fishing, that kind of helped.
I was going to say it adds a lot more interest to the frame, but it's a beautiful shot.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I also want to ask you as well, what role throughout your career as a photographer did mentorship play for you?
It's very rewarding. Like mentors, as in people mentoring me?
Both, either mentors that you've had or having mentees as well. What role has that kind of played for you?
I actually like watching other people progress. Yeah. So there's a bunch of photographers that I help. So, and it's rewarding seeing them, like, I'm doing my first book. Is there any advice? And I'm like, yeah, here are all the mistakes I made. Let me fast track you so you don't make that same mistake. Maybe you don't need to refinance your house. You know, little things like that. Or when you see that they get their first exhibition, you know, it's cool when people send me their books that they've done. Yeah. That's kind of cool. You know, it's rewarding that you know that, right, okay, something you did is helping someone else.
It's a beautiful thing. Always curious to hear about that too. And did you have any mentors who had an impact on you as well coming up?
Influences. Yeah. Like, yeah, you know, obviously my parents, you know, I was very lucky they subjected me to art and going to museums at a very early age. So every city we went to, we'd go and, right, Musée d'Orsay, or coming to New York, it was like going to MoMA, going to the Met, like they're obsessed with going to all these museums. Even if I go back to England now, my dad's like, you know, well, let's go to this museum, and you're just being subjected to all this art. Yeah. And that was pretty cool. You know, I'm inspired a lot by movie, you know, artists. It comes from everywhere. And then I'm a YouTube addict, man, and we're lucky where, you know, you wanna research anything, it's all there for the taking, right? So like all these marketing guys, I watch all of that. I remember I researched something last night, and it was actually one of the guys that I had taught in London was the guest.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know, I'm lucky I get to meet all these people, and then even when you're teaching workshops, you get to meet fascinating people, like world leaders in their industries and stuff, and they're like very kind enough to, like, you know, try this, give me advice as well.
It's nice to have that back and forth and to be able to see other people's perspectives, not only through photo, but just their worldviews as well.
You learn a lot from watching how they shoot as well, or what they choose to shoot. It's not like just me teaching them. It's like I'm actually learning, whether it be about business or just the way that they see things.
Do you find that most people have a completely different perspective?
Some, you have to get them out of this thing of trying to copy. Like they'll be copying someone else's style. And it's like, yeah, I know you can do that, but now you need to show me who you are. Like I'm far more interested in knowing who you are as a person than I know who that is. I know whose work that is, you know? And you have to push them, and then they develop.
Do you find that more people are trying to emulate other people's work now because there's so much out there for them to view? And how, as an educator, do you pull them out of that?
Well, if it subconsciously, it's going to affect you anyway. Just if you're just being submerged in all this stuff on social media, it's gonna sit there anyway. It's very, very tough to, like, right, how do I make myself stand out? How's my work going to be different from everybody else's? And that's got to be your perspective on life, the project you choose to shoot. So it's always like, right, find something that's very personal to you and then show me that.
I like that a lot. I'd like to transition to something we call now a quick fire segment. So keeping that in mind, first things that come to your head as I ask them. If you could only photograph one area, what would it be and why?
Shooting street in New York.
If your camera could talk, what would it say about you?
Give me a break.
That's perfect. From today onwards, you can only shoot with one aperture. What would it be?
The widest one that the camera allows me to do.
Yeah. What is the one thing in your kit that you can't live without?
My headphones.
Nice. So when you're going,
I like to listen to music when I shoot.
Yeah.
I like to go put my soundtrack on.
What's the go-to music?
At the moment, it's Alex O'Brien, DJ, but it's usually like trance or house.
I like that. Okay, and then as we're getting towards the end of our segment here today, what advice would you share with anyone who's interested in street photography?
From a business point of view, learn about business. I wish I knew more about taxes, accounting, marketing. Go learn it. Go on YouTube and start researching if you want to do this as a business, because the photography is only 50% of it. Number one, shooting, just enjoy it. Take the pressure off, man. Yeah. Like everyone freaks out, like, you're not where you want to be. It's like, I've been doing it 30 years and I'm still nowhere near where I want to be. Just take the pressure off.
This is one question I always like to ask our guests. If you could speak with your younger self at any age, what would you say to them?
Try to smile more, relax. Take the stress off things. You get through it. There's going to be lots of hurdles, and you come out at the end of it. Not everything is. I used to have massive panic attacks, like when I was younger, really bad, because you just felt like everything was the worst thing. People wouldn't tell me stuff, like parents wouldn't tell me because they thought I'd freak out. And it was just like, you will get through to the next day. It's not that bad. It's just temporary. So, yeah, I wish I relaxed a little bit more when I was younger.
I think that's a great piece of advice. And then I wanted to also give you an opportunity to shout out an up-and-coming creative, somebody whose work that you admire, who's out there now doing great work. Take this moment to be able to share their work with the rest of the community here.
So I got to go with my boy Gino Farhand. He's out in Germany. As someone who actually connected with through Instagram many years ago. Yeah. And he is just knocking it out of the park, man. I love seeing his work. And I remember the conversation we had years ago was he sent me a message saying, you have so many more interesting people to photograph in New York City. And I was like, trust me, you got lots of interesting people to shoot where you are. And the portraits he produces is beautiful. So shout out to Gino.
Shout out to Gino. Everybody go check out his work. But Phil, thank you so much for coming in and spending time with me today and sharing a little bit about your story and your work. And it was just so nice to get to sit and chat with you.
A pleasure, man. Awesome. Likewise. Thank you. Cheers, bud.